And in three, two, one. Welcome to the Mega Monster Cast. I am Nick. With me is Josh.
Hello.
And today we are talking about three episodes of Ultraman Blazar. We are talking about episodes 13, 14, and 15. Episode 13's name was
The
Scarred
Scar
Nocturne.
Nocturne.
14 was Moonlight Memories, and 15 was Betwixt Morn and Dusk. Um, I enjoyed all these episodes for very different reasons.
Yeah, so usually not the biggest fan of the clip shows, but Scar Nocturne I felt did it right
Oh yeah.
because it was more on the lines of just we're getting more backstories on the team.
hmm Um,
Not much, but enough.
well, I'd say so I don't remember for sure if they had established this before, but we get establishment on Emmy's backstory for this episode, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and it continues on the next.
Yep. Where for this the backstory we get in this one is Emmy graduated from MIT at the age of 17. I would have to assume with like a computer science degree, given what she does after she graduates. But
Yes.
she graduated from MIT at 17, was bored with life, so she tried to hack the GGF, successfully did it, and then was immediately recruited because, hey, you just hacked a government, you hacked a global defense agency. We kind of
I
need
feel like
that on our
it's
side.
I feel like it was more on the lines like, yeah, you're either coming with us or you're coming with us in handcuffs.
Yeah, oh no, 100%. It's a listen, you have a lot of talent. We really like what you were able to do. You can choose to come with us or you can go to prison. Your choice. But yeah,
Either
no.
one valuable.
Uh, this one is definitely so we've had one more clip show episode in this series so far, right?
Yes, and then we have another one coming up fairly shortly.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is from what I remember, this is the best of the three because we do get
Yes,
like a lot of
100%.
character building in this one. They also talk about so the reason why we have a clip show for episode 13 is it's setting up that they're compiling battle records, that they're taking all the information they've gotten from Earth Garon, and they're just trying to use that to analyze. And we get a couple of other like really, I would say like pretty big info drops based on that.
Yes, would agree.
Yep. Specifically, we get that based off of trajectory and the trajectory of how they entered atmosphere, Bazonga and Gabalga probably came from the same origin point, meaning that Scarred and realistically the GGF think that they came from the same planet and they were sent to Earth for a specific reason. I don't remember if this episode or the next episode talks about it, but they talk
Next
about
episode.
okay, yeah, they talk about waves, and I'm gonna spoil the next episode a little bit, but I think like this is all just set up for the next episode, which is
Yeah, I feel like it's fine.
Bazonga was the first wave of attacks from some other planet. Gabalga was the second, and they're trying to prepare themselves for the third wave, which I remember had been name dropped in one of the previous episodes.
It would have been the episode with what's his name, the goofy,
Gabalga the
horrifying.
starfish.
No.
I feel like,
Yes,
yeah, I was gonna say,
yes,
I
that
feel
was
like
it.
they talked about it at the end of episode 12 that they were prepping for the third wave. Um, but yeah, we get a little bit of that, and they specifically mentioned that while Garamon had a similar method of coming into Earth's atmosphere based off of its trajectory, um, the origin point couldn't have been the same. So it's not the people who brought Garamon to Earth sending these other kaiju. The two are similar but unrelated. We also get the other like big piece of information we get in this episode, I think, is Emmy talks about that her father was a scientist, and that's why she was so involved in science, which gets like plays a huge part of the next episode.
Yeah, and then we just get a little bit of backstory for Henri,
Hmm.
and more along the lines of a backstory for, I guess, Blazar.
Yeah, yeah, we get the naming scheme for Blazar, but again, I feel like
Which,
the most important stuff we get in this episode is just trying to set up Emmy's backstory going into the next episode.
yeah, I could 100% agree with that.
Yeah, this one was on it. Like, we're not gonna. I don't think we're gonna get too much out of this episode in terms of talking. Like, it's good. It's the best possible situation for a clip show episode, where it's a clip show with additional footage to fill in the gaps between the clips.
Yeah,
Like, I think more shows should do clip show episodes like this, where they use those to set up character beats for the episodes to come, instead of just having like, oh, remember the time we did this? Oh, well, remember the time we did that? Oh, that was real crazy. I was so nervous during this. Like, no, this actually does a good job of setting up who the characters are and what they're going to be like going forward. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then we do get a little bit of a moment. It's kind of with the setup with the naming,
Hmm.
but we do get a little bit of like how I feel like it's a little tension build up. They're still not sure if they can trust Blazar, just based off of what Ginto said. We get a little interaction with Teriyaki
Hmm.
because he's still questioning like, can we trust him? Can we not?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, and I
And I think
appreciated that.
Ginto finally gets in and is like, no, no, we definitely can.
Yep. I think that's also like a good moment because it does resolve a lot of the hard feelings that he had with like it plays off the resolution on the last episode we talked about, where he had finally come to terms with like Blazar and they had reached an understanding of each other. Like, this is the epilogue almost of that, where it's okay, yep, I trust Blazar. I think everyone else can too. Yeah, honestly, like really good. Again, we got a lot of footage of kaiju fights, but those were all just rehashes of previous episodes. So, like, it was really the stuff in between the clips that was
That
important in
actually
my
mattered.
opinion. Yeah. Well, that and like we did get like a few good solid fight scenes, but I mean we've already seen those. It was
Yeah.
again the character building that made this more than just a standard clip show. Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about on this episode, or do you want to just mosey right along into the next one?
No, it's just mainly the fact that I really appreciate that they're actually character building.
Hmm.
Most
Uh,
shows won't take the time to do that.
oh yeah. No, I solidly believe this is one of the best possible solutions for doing a clip show. So then we move on to Moonlight Memories, which, God, this is a good episode.
Yes, and obviously, as we already stated, it's an Emmy episode, which
Hmm.
we love.
Oh, yeah. I mean, anytime we get an Emmy-focused episode, you know we're gonna just gush about how good it is. She is such a
Yeah.
well-written character.
Uh,
But we
and
actually
she,
don't start the episode with her on this one.
No,
We
no, we
instead
don't.
we start the episode with what I think is actually kind of a fun little character beat for Henri, where
Rawr.
yeah, she's playing with the Earth Garon toy in like the city structure, like she's using the miniatures that they uh they use to strategize as like a toy, like I'm fighting with Earth Garon. I'm the pilot and now I'm playing with the toy.
Yeah. This definitely won't come back later on in the episode.
Yeah, totally not. No, it's that was a really fun little beat for her that I liked too. Like, I feel like out of the team, she's the one that almost always gets the least development. So having that little beat there really does a lot for her
Yeah,
because like
absolutely.
it shows that maybe she's like the immature one, but the one who's like gonna be the most fun. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah,
And then we
yeah.
get,
She still has some coming up to do.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know for sure if she's supposed to be the youngest member of the team, but well, actually that's tough to say because Emmy's also really young. I feel like they're both supposed to be, but Emmy had to grow up fast with everything we learn in this episode, whereas Henri didn't need to.
Let's see. Henri is 26.
Okay. I
Emmy
feel
is 23.
yeah, I was gonna say Emmy. Yeah, Emmy's probably the youngest. Emmy's the youngest, but she had to grow up fast based on again everything we learn in this episode. And
Yeah, the closest one would be
probably Yasunobu.
Yasuno. He's 25.
Yeah, which that makes sense. But again, I feel like Henri and Yasunobu feel well, roughly feel like their age. Like they kind of remind me of what I was like when I was 25, 26. Henri is
Yeah.
so mature for 23, but again, like you find out like a lot of trauma stuff for her this episode, which sets up why, even though she's the youngest member of Scarred, she acts like she's one of the oldest members. Like just based on her demeanor, you would probably assume she's around like Teruaki and Gento's age, but she's definitely younger. But no, so we get we get our kaiju name drop for this one, Delton Doll, which I like this kaiju a lot.
I do too, but holy shit, with Teriyaki, I thought he was going to be like mid 30s.
Mhm.
He's 29.
No, I believe it. Well, Gento's only 30, I think. Yeah, I think they're
Ginto is 30, yes.
yeah, I was gonna say I think they're both younger than us, which says something.
I don't, oh God.
Yep.
Teriyaki just, he has a demeanor. Like the wrinkles on his face, I just feel like he was all older than that.
No, 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 no. He's I mean, he's
Oh,
one of
fuck.
the oldest members of that team, but no, we're older than every member of Scarred.
Fuck.
Yep, makes you feel weird, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah,
Oh, my back.
so Delton Doll. This is a cool idea for a kaiju, a flying kaiju, which we actually haven't had many of those in this series yet.
No, no, it's
Like
all
we've
been
gotten,
bipedals
yep,
or
we've gotten like
quadrupedals.
some that are like aquatic. I think the second and fourth episodes were more aquatic based ones, but
Hmm.
even then they were on land. This is the first one that is specifically a flying kaiju that like all of the action takes place in the sky, and that's kind of a fun take on that. So we get the
Yeah,
name
this
drop
one
for
always
that.
reminded me of that Gamma of Monster.
The
What the
one
hell?
from the first Heisei movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Gaios.
Yeah, yeah, it's got similar vibes to that. I can agree with that. Um, but we get one of our favorite things, Secret Agent Emmy.
Secret Agent Emmy doing her
Oh,
thing.
yep. And when Emmy's doing like her secret agent stuff, we find out
Just-
that so far the specifically Bazanga and Gibalga have been listed as the first and second waves of some sort of attack. and they're worried that Delton Doll is the third wave. And this has something to do with Yu Dobashi, who we're gonna meet later in this episode.
Use Dobushi and V99.
Yep. Which I love that we get like actually like a lot of information dump on that. My next note after that though is the built-in ads are still a little frustrating. This is
God damn it, are they?
this is the first time I actually like decided I was just gonna skip them, so I just jumped ahead every time I ran into them.
I did too.
Like normally I just use those as like a buffer time where I go and like grab something to drink or something. This time I was like, nope, I gotta rush through this. I gotta get through it. Um,
Also, Emmy's so good at hacking that she doesn't even need to type as many words or numbers as what appears on screen.
yep,
She
no,
does it quick,
yep,
and it's like
no.
a paragraph.
It's definitely that that 90s hacking thing where they just start typing a little bit and like a bunch of shit just appears on the screen.
Which I appreciate.
Yep, yep. Um, so then we get Earth Garon trying to chase down Delton Doll, and we find out just how big of a difference there is between the two of them in terms of speed. Specifically,
Mhm.
Earth Garon can go at Mach 4, which is still fucking impressive for a giant robot kaiju. But Delton Doll can go at Mach 9, so it just leaves it in its dust. Although, okay, so I have a tiny problem with this, if only because if it's going Mach 9 and Earthy's going Mach 4, we shouldn't have even seen it. It should have like just skidded past him.
It's slowed down. Let's go with that.
Yeah, yeah. And then they
Just to
launch.
fuck with Earthy.
Yep, they launch missiles at it, and nothing happens. Which is again, it's the nerfing of Earth Garon that we don't need.
Yeah. So they just said, "Fuck it, let's back away."
Yep, let's go fuel up. We'll try this again later. And
And then, of course, we
fucking
get the asshole of the day,
yep.
or what's his name? Or I'm gonna butcher the shit out of this one.
Go ahead. I just write boss.
Arhuna.
I just write boss man at this point. My all of my notes are just calling him boss man now.
Uh, I do notice Retsu Aruna.
Okay.
I'm not even gonna try. Boss man.
Yep. Yeah, no, he is angry. So the two things that he brought up in that scene that I specifically wanted to touch on is why didn't you attempt a different approach, and that they have like all these special like privileges as a unit for a reason. Um, so I feel like this is a situation where he's trying to push them to do better, mainly because, and I think this is brought up later by Emmy, because this is looking really bad on him now.
Yeah, God, like I really hated him, and then this episode kind of makes me not hate him as much.
The ending of the episode.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
because we do find out there's some secret motive behind him where he's trying to be a father figure and be protective
Hmm.
of not only a certain somebody but the whole group.
Yep. And I appreciate that, but at the same point in time, like it's also very clear just based on how the episode is structured that he's going about it the wrong way,
Absolutely.
and that everyone's kind of aware he's going about it the wrong way. So has Emmy finds out that Dobashi was um, an important director of a specific research facility, if I'm remember. Well,
Uh,
sort of.
Test facility 66.
Yep. Which we find out Emmy's dad was the head scientist at.
And Ginto
Yep. Yep.
was security.
Yep. Specifically, as the episode goes on, we're gonna spoil a little bit. The flashbacks we've been getting to Gento being pulled into the light and bonding with Blazar happened at that research facility. And what they were researching specifically caused like is the direct like Blazar bonding with Gento is the direct result of their research. That what they were doing inadvertently caused Blazar and Gento to come in contact with each other and bond with each other.
Which I need to know more about.
Dude, you get a little more. I'm gonna say this. It's the person I get to be the one who talks about how much he knows now. I get to be the
Yeah.
you.
God damn it.
Yeah, no, you
This
get a
is
good
what
amount.
Alex feels like, huh?
Yep, you get a good amount with that. Like it's you get more information as time goes on. Uh, so Emmy calls out the boss man on his bullshit and talks about how she feels like he's just using them to further his own career, which I mean we
Mhm.
later find out is not 100% true, but it's also not 100% untrue. There is a little bit of a gray area where he is both trying to protect these people, specifically Emmy, but in general Scarred, but he's also aware that the his career is now heavily dependent on Scarred because he was the one that proposed that unit to exist.
Yeah. And we get Emmy saying, I'm going to find out what you know.
Yep, which she does almost by the end of this episode. She finds out
Oh,
most of it. So then we get Delton Doll, some information dumped from Delton Doll. They think that Delton Doll is from space. Spoiler on that. If you haven't already watched the episode, spoiler, it turns out it's not, but initially they think it might be from space. And they Henri thinks that it might be using clouds as a nest, but Yasunobu, I believe, says no, it's not using them for a nest. It's using them for coverage. It's using them to hide.
yeah. I was trying to figure out, like, it bothered me. Like, how the hell is it supposed to use a cloud as a nest?
Mm-hmm. Which I mean, considering Yasunobu, and almost immediately after that talks about how it's just using it for coverage instead, makes way more sense, right?
It's so much more sense.
Oh yeah. This kind of leans into I think this plays a little bit with what we saw at the start of the episode, where Henri is fun, but she's not necessarily the smart one. Like she's there because she's capable and she's a good pilot,
Yeah.
but she's not the science officer. Um,
She's a pilot and she can shoot.
mhm. Uh, my next my next note was related to the whole Emmy scene that we kind of skipped ahead to talk about, but it's just Emmy is such a good character, and it talks about that she finds out that well we find out she finds out about like the incident that happened at the research site 66. We are made aware that as viewers that this incident is the one that caused Gento and Blazar to bond, and that Emmy's dad has some sort of connection to it.
Yep.
And
And
this
that
is all
he's gone missing now.
yep, and this is all somehow related to V99. Then we get Delton Doll's shed skin.
Disgusting.
Yep. A part of me like that has to just be the suit, and they had the actor out of it and flattened it, right?
I don't know. It looked like a different color.
It did, but like I don't know why they would go to the. It's got to be a suit for it, right? Like there's no reason to make a separate one if you're not going to use it.
See if we can find that photo again.
Hmm. But yeah, no, that was like, could you imagine? You're walking along, you look up at the mountainside, and there's just like a kaiju skin stretched across
You're
it.
like, "Eh."
It's 1,000 times worse than finding an iguana skin.
So I got that up. Um, for some reason, I can't pull up just the shedded skin.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know, I still think that it's probably what it's probably the suit. Maybe they like had it. They used what it looked like before they painted it, and they shot this out of sequence or something. But it like
Oh
there's
no.
I have to believe that's just the suit. Like there's no way they would make a separate prop for just the skin.
I would put it past him though.
I mean, yeah, but like th I have to give them credit for like there's a lot of economy when it comes to like using the designs for this show. Like I don't feel like they're trying to like they're gonna let anything go to waste. But during this scene, we also find out this is the scene we find out that Delton Doll's not from space, that it's an Earth-based kaiju that just launched itself into the atmosphere and has been flying around. And this is also the scene where we find out that Yasunobu names everything.
Oh, Mopey.
Yep, he named the van Mopey because it's the MOP, so he named it Mopey.
No, I think they straight up made a skin based off of what I'm looking at.
Huh. All right, right on.
That or is like a failed like mold almost that they took out.
Okay. I mean, maybe. That's definitely a possibility too. Maybe they had like a suit that didn't turn out right, and instead of just tossing it, they worked it into the episode.
Yeah, but you can tell like how rigid the other suit was versus how flimsy this one was.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Huh. Cool. Neat.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. No. So I think this is a great character beat for Yasunobu, finding out that he names everything. Like,
I love how like they're they're being nice, but they're being dicks at the same time. It's like, is there anything you don't name?
yep. I mean, I think that that's such a good beat for the team too, because like first of all, it establishes that Yasunobu has like this like again, Yasunobu, despite not being the youngest, second youngest, but not being the youngest, has like a much younger energy than Emmy. And I think this does a good job of playing with that. Like, oh yeah, no, he has nicknames for everything. Like he likes
Yeah,
to name all the stuff that he makes. Of course he would. He's kind of that kind of guy. And
yeah.
it also
It's just Cork.
yep, and it also plays with the team dynamic really well. That they all kind of give him crap for it, but like it's a playful kind of crap.
That they, I feel like they actually kind of like.
Oh yeah, no, like Henri 100% loves that it is called Moby. She's giving him shit, but she loves that. You could tell she does.
MOP.
Uh,
Um,
so the next scene after that we get is
some
another Emmy
abs.
scene. This dude, the next scene, the Emmy scene where she meets uh what is his name again? Where she meets Yudobashi.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good scene. Although I have my favorite my favorite, very specifically me nitpick, which goes along with the episode of Kaiju number 8 that we recorded yesterday, where my I liked to bring up that that Kafka is like struggling to bench 135. My other favorite thing is picking apart gym equipment. And
Oh God.
so Dobushi is at a gym and they're using Techno Gym, which is like my least favorite type of like equipment. It's such a specifically me thing, but I'm like, oh man, that's not a very good gym.
I I feel like they just found like they found her obviously
Mhm.
trying to hack,
Yep,
and they kidnapped her to be here.
yep,
But I feel like the moment he found out, he's just like, "I was intimidating. Let's go to the gym."
yep. Let's make
And like, just,
her show up as this old man is working out.
yeah, what's up, girl?
Yep, yep, doing his flies. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm maxing out.
yep.
So
So we find Emmy says that she thinks that V99 is the enemy that's been sending the space kaiju to Earth, and Dobushi says that she's sort of right, but not really 100% right. Like close enough that like he's giving her credit for it, but it's not exactly that.
hmm,
So there's still some sort of
that
element of
means
mystery.
lizard people.
Yep,
Calling it now.
yep, it's all lizard people. But this is the part where we get the dump that Emmy's dad was the head of was the head scientist at that research site 66, and his research was related to V99.
He's missing since that faithful dude.
Yep. After that, we get the boss talking to Gento, saying that basically saying, "Hey, you need to watch out for Emmy. She's making too many waves, and it's gonna cause problems."
And honestly, Gento's not that worried.
Yeah, I mean, Gento's Gento at this point. Like,
Yeah,
he knows what they're doing. Um, if anything, he encourages it most of the time.
as we'll find out later, he definitely encourages it.
Oh yeah, no, Gento is who Gento is. But yeah, so after that, we get another scene where Earth Garon is trying to engage Deltandel.
Yeah, because they get the warning, or not warning, I guess, but the heads up that
Hmm.
it's been spotted near a cloud.
Yep. And we get another really good beat for Henri. Which again, I like that they're giving her these little beats. Like even if the episode's not focused on her, now they're at least trying to develop her a little bit in each episode.
Mm-hmm.
But we get the beat where they keep telling her to fire even if she can't hit it, to just keep it in the air. And she's like, "Wait, do you guys think I can't aim?" And like they keep saying it, and she's like, "Oh, so you guys do think I just can't aim?"
She is so upset about it too.
Yep. I
I
love
will
that
give
though.
credit to the voice actors because like she really goes for it.
Hmm. Well, so I've watched. I think I don't know if you've watched this episode in both, but I've watched it subbed and dubbed both, and both actresses did a really good job of this.
I've not watched it subject.
Okay. Again, both actresses do a really good job of showing that she's like pretty upset that she thinks none of them trust her to aim at all. It's good. Like it's such a good little character beat for Henri that she doesn't feel like her team trusts her anymore.
Yeah,
And not like in like the Blazar like, oh, we don't know if we can trust like whether or not you're a good person or not. Like, no, we know you're good. We just don't think that you can hit anything.
yeah. No, we put bets out to see if you'll actually hit it or not.
Yep. Uh,
20 to 1 odds.
yep. But then Yasunobu tells her to use the wire-guided hypersonic missiles. No, well, so in between those, tells her to do that. I feel like that's such a weird weapon choice.
Yeah,
Wire-guided just seems. I mean, like I get it because it's essentially a setup of we don't think you can hit it, but like I don't. Wire-guided just seems odd to me. That it's a nitpick, but eh.
I feel like they're just not telling her that like use these, then we can guide it,
Yep.
just to
Then
make her feel better.
yep. Then we get Gento turns into Blazar and engages. And
This, God damn, like I know I nitpick every time he goes
mhm,
Blazar, but like this one's like so deliberate. Like he does it right outside the van.
yep.
He's clearly like was it Yasunobu's in the
Mhm,
van? Like clearly within earshot and even peripheral. Like could see him light up.
yep. Again,
Nothing.
Emmy is the one I think like I think Emmy figured out early on that he's Blazar. Like this is just my head canon. About here is where I think Yasunobu figures it out.
He's got to.
Like those two are like those two specifically are the ones I've usually said know about it. I think this is the point where Yasunobu figures it out. I think Emmy figured it out by like episode 5.
Yeah. I see. I kind of feel like
Teruaki might know it
teriyaki.
too.
Yeah, and that's strictly based off the last episode.
Yeah, that's fair. Again, I think by the end of the series, most of Scarred knows. Like no one says it, but most of them know he's Blazar by that point, I think. But like it again, it's a thing where I think each one of them figures it out at a different point. I think this is like the no doubt in Yasunobu's mind moment,
Yeah.
which again they don't really play with that, but that's my head canon is he has to by this point be like, okay, my boss is just Blazar.
Is it?
Um, so the other moment, the one that I have a nitpick on is when he's fighting against Deltandal. He uses the rainbow slash, which I love that attack, and then he summons the Tilsonite sword. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. The Tilsonite sword's crystal has Garamon on it. It doesn't have Gabalga. It has Garamon on it. It was supposed to be a Garamon sword, and then they changed it midway through.
Yeah, I have it running off onto the side here,
Yep,
just so I can keep up, like make sure, like just for like the little details.
yep,
The moment you said that, that's when
yep.
that's when he puts the pog in. I'm like, fuck, he's right.
Yeah, no, it's just Garamon
It's so
on it.
bad.
It's very obviously Garamon and not Gabalga. Like that was supposed to, like they decided they didn't want to use Garamon as the introduction for that weapon, so they pivoted and turned it into a Gabalga weapon instead. That was supposed to probably be introduced in the Garamon episode.
Yeah.
Which hey, I get it, but like change the art a little bit. Like if your crystal still clearly has the original kaiju, but you're not using that kaiju anymore for the power up, change the art on it or something. Like it's too
That's too much
obvious it's
effort.
Garamon. It's so obvious it's Garamon. It's like it bothers me a little bit too much when I see it and I'm like, no, that's a Garamon sword. But yeah, so we like the fight happens, he takes down Delton Doll, and we get a little more of an info dump about the day that Gento merged with the day that Gento bonded with Blazar. Specifically, it shows that Gento was the one who saved Dobushi, that he was the one who pulled him out of the building,
Yes,
and
and
that
then
he
that
went.
he went back in.
Yep, and Emmy reveals that like since her dad was the last one in there and the one that disappeared, that when Gento went back in, it had to have been to try to save her dad. Uh, this scene,
Yeah, this really tugged me.
yeah, yeah. And she
Uh,
thanks him and she's tearing up and she's holding it together, but you can see like her eyes start really shining. Like it's clear she's tearing up a lot and she's just trying her best not to cry. And it's so
and
good. It's so good. That
the
actress is
little
great.
thank you,
Yep,
I think, is what finally pushes Ginto to be like, yeah, do whatever you want.
yep. It's
Find
so
out what
good.
happened.
It's so good. I loved that
Uh,
beat. That's such a good emotional beat in this episode. Yeah, no, like this is what I consider to be like a big turning point episode. Like this is when it comes to like a mid-season point, I think that's supposed to be like the mid-season like emotional beat episode.
yeah.
Um but yeah, so then Emmy goes to try to snoop around the research facility 66 and she runs into the big boss and they have a confrontation.
The big twist.
Yep, the big twist that her dad and he were best friends.
God, he's trying to protect Emmy.
Hmm.
He's like, yeah, I could just put you in jail for this.
Yep.
Good thing my mouth is shut.
No, it's a good beat. I really enjoy that one. Um, yeah. So, what do you think about like general thoughts about this episode?
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic.
Hmm.
Um, Honestly, like my big strong highlight is actually the ending scene between Emmy and Big Boss Man.
Yep.
Because this is where I went from hating him to be like, I how dare you make me feel a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good spot. Like, it's a really well set up episode. It really makes you feel something for him, which I didn't expect when I watched this the first time that I was gonna like he's obviously like the asshole boss who's gonna like push the defense force and like cause conflict for them. But like that was a really good way of hooking in like an emotional beat with him.
Yeah, like he's literally doing everything that he can to protect his best friend's daughter.
Hmm.
It's he definitely doing it the incorrect way, which we obviously know is a big trope anyway.
Yep.
But
But it makes just
this
enough
gives me the
sense.
hope that he's going to completely turn it around, or I'm kind of afraid he'll do like a self-sacrifice thing for them later on.
Hmm. I mean, again, time will tell on that, but yeah, no, this was a really solid emotional episode. This had like some really good beats for the team. And this one is set with the next episode we're talking about having some more like good emotional beats, but not about the team itself.
Yeah, God, this was the most gamera shit
Yep,
in the
yep.
next episode.
Gavadon, which I talked with you about this off uh, off the podcast a little bit. That this episode is a really really big callback to an Ultraman like an original Ultraman episode that
Oh, God.
Gavadon. So Gavadon's had like in terms of outside of like a little cameo in Ginga, Gavadon appears in Ultraman and appears in Blazar. And when I
Oh,
watched
God.
this episode, I was like, wait, that's so specific. I know I've seen that before. And sure enough, it's from an original Ultraman episode that has like a ton of parallels between the two.
God damn it. Gavaldon, the friend of all children.
Yep. the drawing of Ultra.
Specifically, 3 children.
Yeah. I mean, some more children show up at one point, but it doesn't really make friends with them.
Yeah, no, it's kids from there.
Hmm. But yeah, God, yeah. So we get the setup for Gavadon where there's this kid who's like who likes drawing kaiju. He likes to come up with his own kaiju, which I'm gonna be honest, I feel like that's kind of fucked up in this universe. That there's a child that's like, I like to draw these things that frequently attack our country and destroy cities and lives. I like to come up with
Yeah,
my own versions of those.
I mean, yeah, no, it's pretty fucked up actually.
Yeah, like it's weird. Like so like in Watchmen, um like superhero comics aren't popular. It's like pirate comics instead because it's a universe like with actual superheroes. Of course people wouldn't be as into that because well, that's just a thing. I feel like that this kid would be the kid that's too into serial killers in our world.
Feel attacked.
Uh, but yeah, so he's this artist who makes friends with June, and they go to like his hideout area where he shows off all of his drawings and encourages June to make his own drawings. Reminder for the audience, June is Gento's kid. So this is an episode heavily focused on his son. But
Yeah, when
June
I
goes,
yeah, I was gonna say I didn't recognize them at all.
yep, well, that's because he's not in many episodes yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was just what 3 episodes ago, 2 episodes ago,
Yeah, yeah,
and then he's back. I'm like, who the hell is this kid, and why do I care? And
yep.
then, boom, Ginto. Like, oh,
But yeah, so June hangs out with this kid, with this artist kid, and the artist kid's like, you should draw your own kaiju. And he's like, all right, whatever. And he draws Gavadon, and they leave, and a weird light, which we find out is some sort of special cosmic ray, comes down and brings Gavadon to life.
why is it specifically Gavadon and not any of the other kaiju
Bec-
drawings?
because we need to have a reference to that one episode of Ultraman, because now we've got a character who has a kid, and it can tie into that one specific episode that we haven't
God damn.
referenced since the 60s. Uh,
Uh,
yep.
God, what the hell is this other design for Gavadon?
Oh, Gavadon B. Yeah, so in the original episode, Gavadon gets brought to life. It turns back into a drawing, and when they redraw it, they draw it with like more details, and that's the one that
I hate it.
yeah, no, like Gavadon is not a great design. I think it works as like I think Gavadon A's design works better because it's just like, oh, it's a drawing some kid made. I think Gavadon B is a little more frustrating,
Yeah.
which is why I like that they didn't bring that one into this episode. But yeah, so a couple things we find out about Gavadon after it's been brought to life. It feeds on other drawings, and after a while, it turns back into a drawing. Which
Which I
again,
was not expecting.
yeah, it does line up a little bit with the original Ultraman episode, though. I did a little research on this one before we started, just because I knew this was another callback episode, like the Garamon one. Uh, and in the original episode, it turns back and they redraw it, just instead of doing a redrawing of Gavadon A, they use Gavadon B instead. But when it turns back into a drawing, they decide they want to draw it bigger. So they take a bunch of pieces of paper, put it together, and draw a bigger Gavidon so they can have fun with a bigger version of it.
I do appreciate that they just got like a latex balloon and just blew it up.
Yep. You can like kind of tell where the actor is based on how he moves too.
Yeah.
Like you can tell he's just kind of crouched in there, and occasionally he like bounces up a little bit.
Uh, uh,
Yep. Yeah. No, Gavidon. I think it's obviously not a great design, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a crappy design that a kid made, and I think that works. So uh, we have a scene that is just straight up a Home Alone scene after that, where they have the bigger Gavidon, they're hanging out with it, they're playing with it. They like that it's like a cuddly creature for them to play with. And then this old guy comes in and starts giving them shit. And
how dare you be in here?
so they pull on a rope and they drop a bucket on his head. They've set up this Home Alone ass trap where a bucket falls on this guy's head.
But it would have been better if it was just a full paint can or bowling balls
Yep.
in the bucket. Really go for it.
And then they throw a tarp over Gavidon. Like
Like
this.
he's gonna hide it.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but like he came. It's not like you guys were hiding him before he got in there. He came in, should have clearly seen Gavidon. He dropped a bucket on his head, and then you throw a tarp over it. Like that dude 100% saw Gavidon when he came in and just wanted to confirm what he saw. That's my headcanon on this.
Oh
Because then he
god.
he gets the bucket off, he pulls the tarp away, and he freaks out because there's a kaiju in there.
Like holy shit. Then we go on a witch hunt
Yep.
or a kaiju hunt.
Yep. So the kids go through the city trying to hide Gavidon. Uh, at one point, some women are walking by. They're like a bunch of kids like line up to block Gavidon from their view, which would not have worked again. They yell at the
That
women.
and the women are like what the hell? They were just like going at it. They were straight up punching each other.
Yeah,
Like they even put sound effects like
yeah,
and then you go ha ha ha.
yeah. No,
And then they
I
judge the children.
yeah, I appreciate this episode, but God, sometimes it's just weird.
Oh god.
Uh, so yeah, then they uh they take it to like the riverside. The old man has a posse that's come to try to take down Gavidon because that's what they need to do. They need to get a posse together to attack this marshmallow creature, basically.
How else
Uh,
are they gonna get famous?
oh yeah. So they attack Gavidon.
It's like they technically did what Scarred could not do.
Yep. And it disappears again though. So Gavidon disappears. And they're like, well, we need to call the GGF now.
Uh, and
All
then
right, the kaiju just disappeared, but you need to call the government. Okay, that makes sense.
and then the children do the dumbest possible thing. This was like a scene straight out of Children of the Corn with like how fucking creepy they were and the
Yep,
close ups on their faces as they draw Gavdon in the dirt.
yep, in a big ass field, so they can have a giant Gavidon, because they want to make a Gavidon the old man can't fuck with,
Ugh.
which is how we get some more references to that episode of Ultraman from the 60s.
Hmm.
Oh, so I didn't mention this before we go into that. We find out that June's friends that are helping him draw this, their parents got a new job in America, so they're moving there. So this is kind of tied into like they want to keep playing with Gavadon because this is one of the last things they're gonna do together.
Okay, that bugged me because like I went through this twice
Hmm.
today, and apparently I kept missing that part because like at the end they're like, "Oh, we'll see you." Like, "I'll write to you." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yep. They talk about it when they're at the riverside, when they
Okay,
right before the old man attacks.
okay. I guess that's the part like I dipped out because like I was always like eating at that point.
Yeah, it makes sense. But yeah,
Ugh.
so now we have giant Gavadon, and upper brass are pissed off because Gavadon is going through the city. It's not doing anything half the time. It's asleep, but
Yeah,
it's causing severe problems for infrastructure. So they need Scarred to get rid of it. It's not causing damage. It's just causing so many issues with people getting places, which is actually kind of similar to the original Gavadon episode where it doesn't cause problems, but people think it's gross and it's like blocking, like it's causing infrastructure issues and it's snoring a lot and that's causing problems for people as well.
I mean, to be fair, it is ugly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so that's our tie to that it's causing infrastructure problems because it's sleeping too much. So Scarred is required to deal with Gavadon. Um, Due to attacks on Gavadon, some buildings get knocked over, which it forces Gento to turn into Blazar and stop a building from collapsing on June and his friends. Which I love that like he stops it and then he just kind of pushes it back into place. Like,
That'll fix it.
there we go. That's not gonna collapse again anytime soon.
Nah, just a couple like get some duct tape, maybe weld
Hmm.
or two. You'd be alright.
Uh, and then he starts trying to just wail on Gavadon, and I love that as he's fighting Gavadon, like nothing he does really hurts it because it's like punching a marshmallow.
He even takes the sword out and shoots it with the lightning,
Yep,
and it just bounces.
yep. So Gavadon, toughest kaiju so far because he is friend to all children.
It's like he survives off the imagination of children.
Yep. Uh,
And the children are pissed at this point,
oh yeah.
yelling at Blazar.
Well, yeah, because Gavadon's not really doing anything, which this is another thing that happened in the original episode. Like, the kids get upset because Gavadon's not trying to cause problems. It's not hurting anyone. It's their friend, and it's just sleeping in a like in places that aren't appropriate for it to sleep in, and that's causing problems. It's not actively trying to cause any issues, but its mere existence and what it like how it's choosing to live are causing other people's inconveniences.
Uh,
So, uh, Blazar, I love this. We talked about this as I was doing my rewatch. Blazar takes the spiral Beerade, turns it
it's
into a
the
claw
best.
grab handle, smashes it into the ground, and a spiral Beerade claw comes down from the sky that he uses that spiral Beerade handle to lift it up and try moving Gavadon that way. And then it
It's
slips
so
out of the
fucking
claw.
bad. It's so fucking bad. I love it.
It was so great. That was high point of the episode for me is that moment where he's moving the claw with this giant spiral Beerade handle, and Gavadon slips out and the claw closes, and like uh, it's such a claw grab moment where you're like, yeah, I've got it. Up, crap, it fell out before I could
It's
get it to the chute.
it's the fact that they like cut back to what's his name? and they're sitting there like cheering, like yeah, yeah. And the moment he falls, like no.
Yep. It's so good. That's highlight of the episode is that claw grab moment. We need to tell Alex about that, by the way. He's
He
gonna lose
freaked
his
out about the
goddamn
fishing
mind.
pole.
Yep. It's so good. It's again, that's the highlight of the episode for me is the claw grab moment. Uh,
Same.
yeah, the kids are really upset with Blazar because he's mean to Gavidon.
He tried to do it the best way possible.
Yep.
It's not his fault he slipped and fell.
But yeah, so then uh, June apologizes to Gavidon um, because of how they made Gavidon giant. That's what caused all these problems, and he realizes like, you know, before like we just had some problems because Gavidon like existed, but every time like well we wanted Gavidon to be bigger the first time. The little Gavidon we didn't have any problems with, but like we needed to make him bigger, and that caused problems. And then our solution was to make him even bigger, which caused more problems. Like it's really our fault. If we had just been happy with Gavidon as he was, none of this would have happened. It's us wanting more and trying to fix our problems by doubling down instead of going back to the original version that caused this mess in the first place.
He even says like they say goodbye to him. It's like we can never be together again. I'm like, why can't you just draw him smaller? Like, just
Because we
make
need
tiny Gavadon.
because we need it to match up with the end of the original Ultraman episode. Yeah,
God
so
damn.
Blazar picks him up, which apparently he could have just done that the entire time. Like gets into
No.
like a deadlift, and like Zurcher deadlifts him up and then just flies him off into the distance. And
And then I was gonna say, and then we get this beautiful shot of just Blazar taking him out into space, and the kids are watching, and Gavadon turns into a constellation.
yep.
That's fucking terrifying.
Oh, if you want to talk about terrifying, that happens in the original episode too. Uh, do you want to know how the original episode ends? Well, so let's talk about this one, and then we'll talk about the original episode's ending.
It's like he's like galaxies wide now. He is a complete and utter godly threat.
Yeah, but he's also unable to transform. Like he's just stars now. He's just an outline in space.
What happens if he actually forms so?
Yeah. Well, so they talk about like it was those cosmic rays and their interactions with light that caused it. So as long as he doesn't get exposed to the cosmic rays again, but if he does, he becomes a planetary threat.
Yeah,
Or
he
he'll fall asleep in
becomes.
space until he turns back.
Uh,
Because that's most of what Gavidon does is sleep.
I feel like it's. I feel like he'd be like galaxies wide and just
Hmm.
be a complete and utter disaster upon anything he accidentally runs into now.
That's fair. I mean, he's just not going to run into anything. Like, as he got bigger, he wanted to do less and less.
Yeah, okay, good point. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so obviously we talked about this. June tells them that like they'll write each other, and it's kind of like a bittersweet ending. Uh, do you want to know how the original like this original Ultraman episode ended with Gavidon?
They all died.
So Ultraman flies him into space. He turns into a constellation. It specifically said that on, I think it's June 7th, every year that constellation will appear in the sky again. And one of the kids is like, yeah, but what if it's cloudy and it rains that day? And the episode just ends. So the episode ends on, well, what if we can't see him because there's clouds? It's like, well,
Wait,
there's no answer to that question.
it appears every June 7th.
Yep, in that version.
Is
And it,
this why his name is fucking June? It's just as a reference to that.
It might be, dude. Honestly,
I
they
fucking God
might
damn
have like
it.
come up with this episode and then worked backwards to name him June.
Oh God damn it! If he's seriously just a fucking reference,
It might be.
oh, fuck.
I wouldn't be too shocked on that one.
Then we get a really cute moment between June and Junto.
Hmm.
And that's how we're going to end it.
Yep.
It's like
On a much less depressing note.
just
Because the
Ginto's like, "Do you want to play with me? Oh my god!"
Yep. Yeah, let's not end this super depressing like we did in the 60s.
I kind of wish they did.
Uh,
I wish they would have like turned away, like June would have turned around, saw the two kids like walking away, but they were ghosts the whole time, and they just faded. And he's like,
yep, this ends with June's had schizophrenia the entire time. Yep. Yeah.
would have been a 10 out of 10, man.
So that was our conversation on episode 15. I already said my high point for that was definitely the claw grab.
Same for me. I lost my shit. I love every time they do something stupid. With that being, and I'm all for it.
Oh yeah, no, it's so good. It's so good. I need to try to find that. I'm gonna try to find a GIF of that and send it to Alex because like he needs to see that.
Oh, that's just gonna upset him. And yes, I'm all for it.
But yeah, so going forward, we our next episode that we are gonna do, we are gonna record for episodes uh for the episodes Terror from the Underground, the Digital Picture Scroll, which is the next clip show episode, which that says something that we did that both of our episodes, even though we're covering 3 episodes each for these two, are covering the clip show episodes.
Well, I don't know what I was going. Never mind.
Uh, but yeah, so we're gonna do those two and the Wandering Zangle, which I really enjoyed. That one's a fun episode.
Oh, which one was that? I did watch it.
Hmm. Um,
That's too far.
yep. So when this episode airs, we will be
Oh, yeah.
yep. When this episode airs, I'm gonna try to be putting out more episodes as of recording. We are going to be trying to ramp up doing our Blazar episodes so we can be prepared for when Ultraman Arc premieres in the start of July. So we are going to try to
Just
get,
it's gonna be the best Ultraman.
yep. I did buy, I bought an Ultraman X figure in honor of the fact that they both use armors.
God.
But yeah, any final thoughts before we finish this one up?
No, I think we said pretty much everything we needed.
All right, fair enough.
Oh,
So,
yes, actually. Um, are they gonna catch us later tonight?
I mean, we're not live right now, so maybe.
Oh
Uh,
shit, yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, so as of recording this, we are also going to be trying to do some streams of the new season of Overwatch. Season 11 is kaiju themed. We have a couple of skins that are specifically called kaiju skins for Roadhog and for Luce no, for Roadhog and Zenyatta. I don't remember if the Lucio one is called Kaiju one too, but it looked like it was a Kaiju themed one.
The Lucio one was not in yet.
Okay, and then we also have some skins that are like Japanese superhero ones. So we have some ones that are
Yeah,
like a little ridery, a little Sentai-y, like a little bit of Ultraman-ish in there, just kind of generally Japanese
there's
superhero themed.
there's even a Beetleborg.
Yep.
Ah,
But yeah. So that will definitely air before this episode goes up, if only because that's gonna be tonight versus when this episode comes out.
yeah.
But yeah, with that, we are gonna end this. Stick around as we eventually get through the rest of Blazar, and then we are going to be doing Ultraman Arc, and I'm hoping we're going to get some Ultraman Orbin too. I think that would be a fun show for Alex to start with.
Everything you showed me of Orb, I'm pretty excited to watch that.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite villains for this franchise. So with that, we are out.
Bye.